Hey amigos, Joker here, and I just wanted to give you all a heads up. If you're in Las Vegas October 19th and you're looking for a night of music, culture, and community, check out Dia de los Empties, a yearly music festival put together by indie surf band Los Empties. Get ready for a night filled with music, dancing, and delicious food, featuring artists like Tropa Mágica, Desert Island Boys, and our guest for this episode, Sani Bronco, plus more. That's Saturday, October 19th, 2024, at La Palma. For tickets, visit any of these artists' IG bio or click the link in the description of this episode. Thanks and enjoy the show. Not the first time he did something like that. He was working on a building site and got sacked before they caught him on the roof of a new build. Sat on the chimney pot reading the paper while down the flute. Steve.
This is what I was just. I thought it was like a piece of their equipment fell out of the truck or something. I wasn't expecting a turd.
Yo! Oh, Jay, you're supposed to intro this one actually.
Oh, it's me. What's
Yes,
up,
sir.
YouTube? Welcome back to the Affable Amigos podcast. It's me, Mr. J, and obviously I've got my lovely, beautiful, sexy, sultry host, Joker, over here. And speaking of beautiful, sexy, sultry, we have a special guest. Joker, who is this lovely? Why am I the only one on here with just no hair? Y'all got just illustrious hair, and I'm over here looking like a watermelon.
We're an eclectic bunch, you know. We're all inclusive. People of all walks of life are included in here. That's okay. Yeah, our special guest is very special and near and dear to my heart. This is Sani Bronco. Yay! A legend.
Woo-hoo!
Yes, sir. What's up, Doc? How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm happy to be here and stoked to chat with you guys.
Yeah, we're here. Haven't talked to you in a while. I know we text every now and then, but I'm just excited to have you on the show and catch up and chat. Got some funny stories coming up.
Yeah, I'm stoked too. I really like what you guys are doing. I see all the clips on my feed on TikTok, and when you asked me to be on, I'm like, dude, of course, man. Let's get it going. Hopefully this is the first of many.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We
Like we've
appreciate
said
the
before
support.
on the show to our other friends and colleagues that have come on, like it's something for us, for me and Jay, but we also want to elevate and showcase the interesting people in our lives. And for me personally, you're like one of the coolest dudes I've ever known.
Wow,
Like you're touring the country, putting out good music out there. I love all the stuff you put out so far. So, yeah. And I miss you dearly, homie.
I miss you too, man. I mean, you're very close to my heart as well, and Jay, new friend, first time we're meeting, and hope,
Pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to meet you.
yeah. So thanks. It means
But,
a lot. I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Speaking of new friend, I mean, we're talking about touring and stuff. Have we told the audience why this man is touring? I mean, we basically have a rock star on the podcast today,
Well,
right?
I can knock myself down a little bit. I wouldn't say that. I'm just getting started a little bit.
Did you just finish a tour recently, or do you have anything coming up later on for the 2025?
So yeah, my band, Sani Bronco, we just did a tour with a band called Wolf and Bear from Sacramento, and then they're super dope, really cool people. And Royal Coda, which is from Sacramento as well, and then a band called Idola from Salt Lake City, Utah. And we were really lucky that they asked us to open up that tour. So there was 4 bands on the bill, and we were the first band to play. But that finished up like middle of July, and as of right now, I'm not sure if we have anything planned soon, but hopefully, fingers crossed, something happens, and But as of right now, I'm just been chilling at home since I got back. It's a lot to unwind from, if I could say that.
Right. Yeah. And then shout out to your album that you guys put out earlier this year. It's just self-titled, right? Sani Bronco.
Yeah. Thank you. And you can find that anywhere for the audience listening. You can find that on
Yeah.
Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Tidal, anywhere you get your music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how did you get started with like all the music on the music scene and everything?
Well, my brother, since I was really little, he's 2 years older than I am, but he's always been involved in music, and from an early age, I was always going to his shows, like watching him play with his first bands, and he really kept up with it. And as I got a little older, I wanted to do what he was doing, and basically just followed in his footsteps. And that's kind of how I got into the world of music, is just by seeing my brother do it, and now I'm trying to.
I like it. I like it. Shout out to Big Brothers.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I've been a fan of your brothers for a while also. And then, full transparency, we're all very close knit here. So, Sani Bronco is my sister's partner. And, that's also how I got introduced to him. And then, yeah, she would tell me, she told me about you and then your brother. And I was like, what? Like, I know that guy. Like, I don't know him, but I know of his music.
Yeah.
So I've been a fan of his. And then, like, I heard and met about you. And I think we just, like, clicked really cool. And, yeah, dude, I think there's something, it runs in the family for you guys, right? All the artistry and creativity.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really when we first met a couple years back. I was surprised. I think I even told my brother that I was like, "Oh, he knows your band, dude!" Like, and that was pretty cool to have like met your sister, and then found out that you know of like my brother's projects, his bands and stuff. That like it's things like that where I'm like, oh, I guess this music is reaching a wider audience where I could just meet people that already know about his bands and stuff,
And then soon enough, you're going to be even bigger.
That's always been.
Is there a little bit of friendly competition with your brother?
I mean, actually, I don't think so. I think that with him and music, where music goes, I think I want to see him get as far as he can in it, just as much as I think he wants to see me. I think we're so far apart right now, as far as like where he's at and where I'm at, that if I got a little closer, I think maybe the competition would start there.
Then it's on. It's on, baby.
Hell yeah.
I mean, what about you guys? I mean, Joker, I know a little bit about the style of music you listen to, but Jay, you got any sort of genres that you like listening to? Any bands that you sort of have on rotation right now?
Well, we've talked about it extensively on this channel. Big into rap, Eminem is the GOAT. That's for the most part, it's usually Eminem on a loop, just one of his many hit songs or something like that. But if I'm ever venturing outside of rap, I can do a little bit of Sinatra. I'm big into Sinatra. And I don't know if me and Joker have ever talked about that. Also, people are sleeping on disco. I don't know if y'all, people be hating. Disco is fire. Nothing makes you want to shake booty like some disco.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Earth, Wind, and Fire. It's in the name.
Very true, yeah.
But yeah, rap, disco, James Brown. James Brown is a big one. But for the most part, it's got to be Slim Shady.
Right on, yeah. Yeah, you know what?
But I have heard some of your stuff, and I loved it.
Obviously, his first records onto the scene made an impact on all of our lives, and I think there was a little. I could be wrong. You tell me if he had a little dip at one point, but I think from what I'm hearing, people are saying he's back in. Like I guess he's back to making fire, from what I'm hearing.
Well, I kind of joined in after the dip, like during my college years. I wasn't one of the people who listened to him back in his old, like when he started. I didn't listen to a lot of music back then. So I came in after the dip. So I'm actually a huge fan of all the recent Eminem songs. So
Right on.
and so, but I do think he just keep getting better with age.
Yeah, fine wine.
And so I used to work with Joker's sister actually, and then that's how I found out that she was dating someone in the music industry. I'm like, okay, and then she showed me some stuff, and you know, sometimes when someone's like, oh yeah, I'm dating someone who does music, you're like, oh, okay, that's sweet. But then she
It's nice
showed
for
she
you.
actually, yeah, it's like okay, that's cool. It's someone in their garage or something like that. But no, and then she played some songs for me. I'm like, dang, this guy's legit. Like, oh this it's just some legitimate music right here. Like this needs to be on a radio.
Oh man, I love that. I love that. It's awesome whenever I share the music with someone. They're like, "Oh man, this is like, you know." I think
It's legit.
well, I think it comes down to coughing up the money to get it recorded professionally. Doing stuff at home, recording at home is very possible, and I know a lot of people that do it, and they can get it to sound great. Um, but going to a studio and going to someone who dedicates themselves to recording and capturing well, I think that's where the difference comes in. So maybe that's what people are hearing when they hear it, and they're like, "Oh, this sounds like yeah."
Yeah, it's up in quality at least a good chunk because I mean, yeah, like you said, people can do all kinds of stuff just in their bedroom alone.
Yeah.
But it's one thing to be like super artistry, have an idea out there, but then to have that support and then up in quality, give it that polish,
Yeah.
I think it's noticeable for the audience.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you guys can hear. Oh man, I got sick. I don't know if I'm sick or if it's allergies, but I sound different and I feel different.
Oh.
And it started as soon as we got off the last episode after me and you, because you were sick last episode, Jay, and you were coughing up a storm. And then I got off, and then later that evening, I felt different in my,
did I pass it to you through the camera?
We're thinking it's just allergies because the boys had it first, and they were like weeping, and like how you get teary eyed with allergies, and then the little one he had all snotty, and then nobody's got any fevers, not really any coughing, just lots of snot, boogers, and just sinus pressure. So we think it's allergies, but it's still I still feel it right now, and I feel like I sound different.
No,
but
you sound fine.
Cool. I got a squeaky voice anyway. So.
But that being said, I think you've got some titillating Reddit stories for us.
Yes, sir. All right, fellas. So this is okay. So obviously we got a amazing artist, musician here with us. So I thought it'd be fun to get some quote unquote band horror stories. Ooh, especially given because this episode will come out the weekend prior to Halloween, but it's kind of clickbaity. They're not like horror stories like gore and violence. It's more like people have bad times on tour, have weird stuff with their partners and musicians, that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. So let's see. Let's get a little taste breaker out of the way. These are in no particular order, but some of them can be kind of long. But that's also because I noticed in some of our other Reddit episodes, I chose really short stories, and that makes for low quality content. So
really, I feel like we can take a one sentence Reddit story and talk about it for like half an hour because I feel like we've done that before.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm like it's just like Bethlehem when she was on the show. She's like, "Why are people asking dumb questions? It's already the answer's already there." Anyway, let me see.
For this because I've definitely been going down the Reddit recently, just on everything. Jump around from app to act. Maybe one week I'll be on TikTok, like wasting my time through TikTok, and then recently I've been heavy on Reddit, just through my feed, just reading and reading. I like to think it's a little better because you're reading than just but
Hey, that's true. You get to see words.
yeah.
I mean, a lot of them are spelled incorrectly, but at least you're seeing words.
Right.
That's been my workaround as I'm spending time on Reddit. I'm like, hey, it's words. That's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hello! Don't forget, guys, I got little ones around.
All right.
I think,
Okay.
yeah, one of them just came in. All right, that's fine. I don't mind if you guys can hear them.
Okay.
Okay, so this is just off the subreddit r/musicians, and user Smiley MC Sax asked, "I want to hear your gig horror stories. What's the worst one you've ever played?" And then user commented, user shotgun _ rhinoplasty said, "We were playing a local party bar in a college town. Busy place. It happened to be my birthday. We had a song about getting drunk. Right before the singer stops and says something like, 'Hey, it's this f***'s birthday. I need someone to get us shots from the bar.' Crickets. No one moved. So we say, okay, just start the next song. By the time the song ended, 10 different people lined up on the stage with shots. My band looked at me like, that's all you. Just left me hanging. The entire audience is staring at me. Way worse than the peer pressure situations they tell you in school. I took each of them one after the other. I was instantly destroyed. Couldn't play, could barely stand. Thankfully, I stepped on my cable and pulled it out, so whatever I was doing did not get heard. On the positive side, the owner said it was the most rock and roll thing he'd ever seen and invited us back.
Oh my god.
And then later on, someone asked, 2 powerfully cringy moments, the silent crowd and the band leaving you with all the booze. Brutal. And then he says, they dropped me off at home after one was like, we should make sure he gets in. They came back and I was face down in the grass. And he says it was reported to him. He doesn't remember.
Yeah.
Dang, his band left him hanging. That's messed up.
Yeah.
Well, it might have been smart on their move to not take the 10 shots there.
That's a lot. Yeah. Just space it out, do one at the beginning of the set and one at the end. But, I mean.
You hear some people that, they have one beer or so before they play and it kind of loosens the nerves or whatever. I could maybe see that. But, I don't believe that anybody can play hammered. I have a hard time believing that anybody can perform better if they're just slammed.
No, I mean I don't drink alcohol, but 10 shots. That sounds like that's way beyond what gets people hammered, right?
Right.
Yeah, dude, that's a lot. Because, I mean, if you want to get specific, a shot is 2 ounces. So that's like 20 ounces. That's a whole thing of alcohol. That's a lot. Yeah. You take one shot, you got to let it sit for at least like an hour or 2. At least I do.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I'm right there with you, Jay. Actually, I don't drink alcohol either. At one point I did, and back when I was so I'm 28 now. I think when I was like 20, 21, I was playing some concerts and having some beers, and I just remember those times as being like, man, like, it's just like you think you're sounding good and you're feeling good, but you watch the videos back and you're like, oh god, dude, maybe I should have waited till after.
Yeah, I get that.
Even did you have a horror story like this that was the turning point for you?
Well, not necessarily with in regards to the beer or anything like that. But I did have to. You see the videos and you're like, oh man, it's the worst. You cringe because you're like, did we really sound that bad, man? We thought we were up there killing it, and we turns out we weren't.
Yeah, I cut you off earlier, Joker. I know you were trying to say something.
Oh yeah, no, you're fine. I always that's my ADHD. I'll jump in if I have something to say, but I don't remember what I was going to say now. That's okay. I think I was just going to talk about just the effects of alcohol, and I mean I'm 30 now, so I'm done with that like whole party. Yes, yes, thank you. So yeah, I've had my like blackout nights, and anytime those happen, I hate those, especially
Yeah.
like remembering back to those. But no, nowadays I rarely drink, and then if I do, I drink responsibly. So I make sure I'm still a functioning human. I just give myself a little buzz, but
Yeah.
nothing crazy anymore. I don't like waking up feeling hungover. I don't like feeling like all fat and like bloated the next day. And actually, to even like segue further removed from this show, as part of my 90-day challenge, I haven't been drinking.
There you go.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Maybe
Okay.
maybe
Nice.
it'll go past 90 once you feel how good you feel. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm just because I'm not like actively thinking about it. I'm just like, I don't need it right now.
I just think that alcohol decreases anybody's ability to like do, and this is no judgment. This is my personal experience for myself. Is that I could never do anything better with alcohol, if that makes sense. Like, if you hear some people in college, maybe they're studying and they're just having a beer, or they're doing some homework and having a beer. I always found that would always decrease my ability to do whatever I needed to get done. And so it's just like, I always have this joke too. You know how alcohol is a depressant? It's considered a depressant. I always go, man, why do I want to be depressed? It's just some dumb, easy joke.
But so you did remind me. The other talking point I had was you hear artists and more specifically musicians talk about their substance abuse and I can't be creative unless I'm drinking or I'm high or I have something in yet. I think that's BS. You should,
Yeah,
if it's something that you like really are passionate about and you want to have this thing that you want to create and put out there, I don't think you need to abuse a substance. Like
yeah,
sure, throughout history you've heard of people like, yeah, we got plastered, down the whole bottle of Jack, and then we wrote the record in one night.
right.
Rock and roll, but
Yeah.
that shouldn't be a norm.
And I think that maybe there's some instances like maybe the Beatles when they made Sergeant Pepper's, that was the record that was more psychedelic, uh, after they went to India. As you can imagine, they were probably doing some stuff. That I do give some, I feel like maybe that does help create some fun and weird ideas and stuff. But I think I think the two are separate. So you got alcohol here, and then you got other stuff that could possibly like help you write some stuff or be creative in a different way. But I just think alcohol is like, this is just from my personal experience, and that's just because I would say I used to like it a little too much, So now I actually don't like it at all. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, it does. Because I mean, in general, alcohol is a poison to the body. That's why the body reacts that way.
Right,
But
right.
humans are just dumb monkeys. Are like, I like how this feels more.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, as far as that goes, I think in music, I mean, they romanticize it. It's like a lot of
hmm
like you said, like rock star stories or whatever. Slash, Guns N' Roses, like you hear all this stuff about partying, and it's slowly like kind of getting its. I don't know. It's like a lot of people are kind of waking up to that. It is a poison. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I think in a lot of those stories, we've seen they usually end badly. So I think people are just learning. It's like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this crap. Like these like legends of music or like overdosing and or their career ends up fizzling out because they got conquered by this freaking
Yeah.
pill or drink or whatever they're snorting and sticking up their nose. Kool-Aid.
think-
I don't know what the heck it is.
It's honest.
Yeah, I think Sonny put it perfectly. They're romanticizing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad. There's tons of artists out there that got big and could have definitely like kept going and the gotta say the addiction is just something that could take you down the drain, or like as far as your career goes, as far as your relationships go. It's like, man, what could that person have done if they didn't have this thing?
So much potential.
Yeah.
I know in the rap industry, that's been a big thing. It seems like we're losing a new rapper
Right.
every few years because they overdosed on something. It's like, geez,
Yeah.
come on! Like, and there are some really talented dudes.
Yeah. Right.
All right, enough of a downer
Yeah.
note. Like,
Yeah.
let's bring
This is
it
getting
up a
too
little,
deep
guys.
now.
Yeah. We're here to have fun, okay? No, I'm just kidding. No, but it's good to talk about it. So that's
Yeah, and I will say that I say all this from not a place of judgment at all.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's almost just trying. I mean, this is all from my own experience. That I feel like I'm getting things done now that I put some of that stuff aside.
Yeah, it's good to
I mean-
acknowledge, if somebody has an issue. You can't just like brush it under the rug.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no judgment to anyone who partakes in alcohol or legal substances.
Mhm.
But yeah, you just got to know yourself and make sure you know where you stand with all that, and don't let it control you in the end.
Yeah. Very well said, Jay.
So I got another one from r/guitar user sarcastrophe asks bandmate horror stories. And then top comment is from Alex_Plode. Says, played in a band with this drummer who was just, well, not very bright. Think Andy from Parks and Rec. Super fun dude, always cheerful, but just not that bright. Constantly needed to be reminded about practices, would forget stuff like where he parked his car. He missed so many practices because he literally could not find his car. Total flake, we had a gig on Leap Year Day, and he thought we were just teasing him about a gig on February 29th. There's no such thing as February 29th, he said. He also sold weed and was constantly getting ripped off. The guy was just not that bright. But holy hell could he play the drums. We got into the studio to record a demo. Guy's first time in a pro studio, and they throw him on a click track. Never done it before, just totally nails it like a fucking machine. First take, perfect. His pocket feel is like one of the best I'd ever played with. I don't know if that's
Like a musical
drummer
pocket,
lingo.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a term they say. Oh, he's in the pocket. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. His kick foot was something from another planet. So much finesse and control. This was like 25 years ago, and I still think about the guy. Fucking amazing drummer, dumber than a box of rocks.
So was that there was no horror story. It was just a sound like a really cool dude.
He was talking about, hey, this guy is dumb, but he's a good musician.
I mean, yeah, it does. Fortunately, he's your drummer and not your accountant.
Right. There's people that just have it like that. They can just show up and lay it down. And, there's people that could definitely do that. No practice. They're like, all right, I'm here. What are we playing? Well, okay, and they just keep nailing it.
Yeah, some people are just naturally talented, and then if you're really that level of talent, that's enough to hold you. And now he was probably very successful as a drummer.
Yeah.
So I know I don't have that. I don't have that kind of talent. That's why I had to be smart.
I don't have either of those. No innate talent, and I'm not very bright.
I feel like I've been scraped by with the the little bit I do know, I'm barely making it by. As far as like writing songs and stuff, because there's people that can play crazy technical, they prodigies, kids that just picked up on it really easy. Me, on the other
Hmm.
hand, I've always been like, my hand position on the guitar is not the best, and like I'm not super shreddy, so I'm like, make do with this few little chords I know.
Yeah, it still takes effort, but at least you're like creative enough in what you do already.
Right, I'm trying to make up for the lack of skill I have in other areas,
But I feel like a lot of it is probably like charisma and energy, right? Like even because I feel like I've seen a lot of like musicians or members of bands where there's been lots of like boy bands where there's been members who can't sing at all,
Yeah,
but it's because they have the character that everyone falls in love with. So
right.
And
it's
you have to be
they're
marketed properly, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
huh?
yeah. No, uh, not to go off on a little tangent here, but yeah, I
That's
feel
all we
like
do on the show anyway.
the skill that I have when it comes to music is seeing the entire song, right? Like being like, okay, this part can go into this. I'm not necessarily like the guy that comes in where it's like, this guy plays guitar like nobody's business. Like, I definitely know people, and I play with dudes that are like that they're monsters at guitar. Where I kind of like just come in and sort of like see the entire song. So, like you said, it's like you make up for it in other areas. If you're not that like crazy drummer like we just heard in that story, you can make up for it in other ways.
Speaking of which,
Awesome.
so the band is called Sani Bronco. It used to be a solo artist, but you're a full band now, right? You got other dudes around helping you out, contributing.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny. It's like I never really know how to like the way I put it is I sort of write the songs at home, and I work with a bunch of different people. I work with my friend
Hmm.
Nick. I work with my friend Andrew. I got a buddy named Kyle that plays guitar, and I always say like a band as opposed to a solo artist is because I couldn't do it without these other people. Like I can't this by myself. I definitely have their help to write some stuff, to play the material live. It's funny because my brother will say like, dude, like you're a solo artist. This is your project. Like you could do this. You don't, he's like, as in like words of encouragement. Like you could do this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like you could do this on your own. Like, sorry, it's my dogs. Um, but yeah, I think that so I kind of jump back and forth from the two where um, I think it's a band, but it's also a solo project. And I always have examples off the top of my head. It's not coming to me, but like, here you go. Are you familiar with Tame Impala?
Not me.
He's like an indie artist. Tame Impala is the name of the project, but sorry. Would you mind closing that door for me, please? Sorry. um, Tame Impala, that's the name of the band, but it's one guy named Kevin Parker who runs the whole show, and like, so it's kind of like that. I know I just rambled for, but that makes sense.
That's okay. That makes for good content.
Yeah.
No, but it's like Danny Elfman. You go to see Danny Elfman, but it's a whole orchestra. Or Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Right,
There's the one guy, but he's got a whole crew of people backing him up. Yeah,
right,
I get
yeah,
it.
right, exactly, yeah.
And it kind of sounds like you're kind of like you're like the Danny Ocean of the whole thing. Like that is a major skill in music is being able to see, how to take other people's talents and stuff and where they can shine, and then how you can put all that together so you can shine as a whole. So I mean that's a
Yeah.
big thing. I mean that's all like like orchestral conductors do. It's just like they're sitting there waving a stick, but their whole thing is that like they know how to put all these musicians together, all these people who play instruments, and it puts them together in a way that sounds just gorgeous. So, I mean, that's a huge thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, there's people that do it on a huge scale too. There's bands out there that it's like one guy, and you like sort of ask yourself, well, does this guy like play guitar? Does this guy like no? He kind of just hears things in his head, and then has other people record, and write. It's like, okay, I'm hearing this in my head. Can you play this? And that's a whole another skill of its own. That's just as, I mean, just as much talent as anybody else. You know, it's just a different talent. You know?
Very nice. Yeah. All right, so I got another one from Rue Ready, 1994. Excuse me. As a senior in high school, a local Christian metal band lost their drummer because he was caught selling coke on campus. They invited me to come jam with them and see if I would be a good fit with them. So I get to the rehearsal spot, set up my kit, and we get halfway through a song when the guitarist and the singer begin arguing over a girl. The guitarist apparently had a crush on her since 6th grade, and the singer banged her at a party the weekend before. I don't recall who threw the first punch, but when the cops showed up, they were both bloody, my set got knocked over, and the guitar's neck was snapped in half. They disbanded that night, and the chick ended up pregnant. That was the only time I ever jammed with those guys. They weren't very good Christians.
Yeah, them fools need Jesus. Jeez.
No,
Dang. So busy singing about it, eh? Don't sound like they read the Bible at all. Dang, they sound like legit rock stars, just out there banging chicks at parties, selling coke.
Christian metal bands, I think, are always a fun mix.
Yeah, I mean, you're familiar with the Devil Wears Prada, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, there's bands out there that Christian bands that definitely rock. They rock Jesus for sure.
Yeah, they can jam out for sure. I think it's one thing when you can say you're a religious type band, but you're not like
right.
You know, you're not preaching your stuff out there. You're not pushing it down people's throats. It's just part of your what is like helps you as your inspiration or you know, your moral compass essentially. I guess it's good. Is a good way to put it.
Where did they say where this was from? Because they're talking about like
Sorry, dog.
One of the where are they at? Does this like give like a city, state? It sounds like a small town because he was talking about he had a crush on her from 7th grade or whatever.
Wait,
hold on, Jay. You went away, stopped, and then you came back. So can you start over?
Okay. Yeah. Am I here? Am I here?
Yes. Yeah.
Where are they at? Did it say?
Where are they at? No, they just said Christian. As a senior in high school, a local Christian metal. Nope.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounded like a small town because he was talking about he had a crush on the girl from like 6th grade or something like that. So I figured it was like some podunk place in the south.
Yeah, no, they didn't reply to any of the comments. Just other people talking about Christians.
Wait, I want to hear some of those comments.
Someone says typifies the Christian metal scene, and then someone says someone snapped a truss rod in half. Let's see.
That, if you don't know, is the rod that goes inside of the guitar neck. So, which is a metal rod. And so, to snap that in half is crazy.
Dang. Yeah, no. Then there's just other people replying about theirs. I got another funny one because I just like the way they wrote the story.
We'll pray for those people though.
Yeah.
All right, so this is under r/live sound, and it was a comment to somebody called Redbeard Audio. This is user Chop Suey. They say, "F***ing Steve, man. We did a show up in Newcastle on stage till midnight. break down, and into the van for the drive back to Landshire. A good few hours, even on empty roads. Bloody cold winter's night, too. So we are driving up over the moors, no real direction route via motorway, and I am the driver. All the other guys have thrown some beers down, so they are all moaning about needing a piss. Well, I haven't seen a car in a good while. We are in the middle of nowhere, so I pull over to the side of the road and pop the hazard lights on just in case. The lads pile out of the van and shuffle off to do their thing. To my surprise, after a minute, a car is approaching the other way, and then slows to a stop. Police car. Window rolls down, and I say hello to the nice officer. I explain the situation to him, assure him I haven't been drinking, although the band have. Where are they now, sir? Just around the side, officer, having a quick wee. You know how it is after a few. Well, would you mind explaining that to me? He says, motioning down the road past the back of the van. There, smack back on the white line of the center of the road is a huge turd, like something out of a comic book, swirled and everything. Also, it is cold as a witch's tit out, so so there the thing is fucking steaming in the night air. We had to scrape it off the road with a folded newspaper. Fucking Steve. Not the first time he did something like that. He was working on a building site and got sacked before they caught him on the roof of a new build. Sat on the chimney pot reading the paper while shitting down the flute. Fucking Steve.
This is what I was just saying. I thought there was like a piece of their equipment fell out of the truck or something. I wasn't expecting a turd. That was
Yeah, I like how I can imagine just seeing the headlights shining on the turd, and then you just see that it was fresh.
He started driving away the second I saw him squatting down like that. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, have you ever had like those moments where you got to calculate, okay, this is how far we are to the next stop. Like everybody's got their things ready, we got enough gas, how does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest for sure. You're always pulling over to the side of the road, but only to go number one. There's never number two involved in these situations. But no, yeah, that's like the most common thing. You're in the van, you're driving 8 hours or whatever. You want to get there, so instead of stopping at every gas station, you pull off to the side of the road and hope that a cop doesn't roll up on you.
You're like, oh, I'm just changing a tire. We're just checking our air pressure.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time, I feel like they can understand, especially if you're in the open road. I think it's if the cop really wants to be, enforce the law.
if he wants to be a pain in the butt. That's
Right.
what it is. But I've always wondered about those cops who are like out in the middle of nowhere. It's like, do you just sit out here like hours of the day, just sitting in your car, staring at this empty road, just waiting for someone to bust,
right.
or drop a massive turd? Like, this is question your life decisions, sir.
I think there's some stretches of road where it's like super empty away from any like small town that I think most people could be safe, but yeah, every now and then there's just somehow just hiding in the grass or something.
Yeah. Dude, I got kind of a story one time. It's
Please, yeah.
I had to go. I had to take a leak. And
Sometimes you gotta go.
I pulled over to the side and behind a power box thing, it's like it seemed to be like a good spot, I'm like, all right. And a cop did pull up on me. And he goes, and I mean, he could tell what I was doing, and he was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, pretty aggressive. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, we've been driving for like an hour and a half, like, and and he goes, do you know what building this is right here? And he's like pointing to the building right next to it. And I'm like, no. And he's like, there's a police building right here. And because it wasn't like super obvious that it was. It's just a gray building. And I think he was more offended, thinking that I was like trying to because I have my buddies were in the car. And I think he thought I was like, oh, I'm going to piss on this cop building right here. But
F the
I definitely
police.
wasn't. I just thought it was a good spot, and yeah, he let me go, but I was like,
I mean, that could have ended much worse. You could have like looked up and there's just like a bunch of shotguns pointed at you.
right, yeah, yeah,
Why you got your penis in your hand? It's like, dang.
or they could.
Let's see. Here's another one. So this is from the Redbeard Audio. He's like, I remember one time the band I was out with traveling in a full-size RV. We were playing the Civic Center in Poughkeepsie, New York. The tour had 4 other buses and a semi, so there was no room for us in their parking lot. Really a glorified driveway, if anything. They had us park a block up the road on the sidewalk. The sidewalk was quite tall, and the guy driving mentioned that the axles on our trailer were scraping as they pulled up onto it. We were sharing driving duties, and the bass player had the morning shift the next day. He wanted to party that night and asked if I would trade with him. The next morning, as I go into the driver's seat, I decided my course of action was to turn as hard as I could to the right as I pulled back onto the road. So I didn't spend too much time with the RV at an uncomfortable level. As I did this, I heard the axles scraping quite louder than I expected. About 5 miles later, as I'm turning down an exit ramp, I noticed something flapping in the wind behind me. I quickly pull into a gas station to inspect. Turns out that scraping sound wasn't the axles, it was a sign I didn't notice on the left side of the vehicle. That I caught as I made the hard right turn. It pulled the back fiberglass panel off halfway. Luckily, we had a drill and some screws and lots of tape. Bass player's day job was drywall. And we were able to secure the panel and continue on tour. But it was not a pleasant way to start the day.
Wait, so what did they hit a sign?
Yeah, probably like a big metal sign. They didn't specify, but I'm guessing it was like a big, who knows, like stop sign, hazard sign, and then it was stuck onto the in the RV, and it like took off a part of it.
Jesus. Yeah. It's like
It'd be nice if they could put pictures on here, you know.
every little thing will happen to you when you're on the road that you don't want to happen to you.
Bro, don't say that. Jordan and I have a big drive coming up, and I have
Oh,
to drive.
really? What were you guys driving to?
Oh, I don't think we've told you. Oh, Johnny, what happened?
Come back in?
Yeah, he'll pop back in.
Okay.
Anything bad that will happen on a podcast will happen on a podcast.
So, you guys are doing a trip or?
No, his parents are moving in with us.
Oh, yeah.
So we're gonna fly out there and then drive their U-Haul van up here.
Oh, right on. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm back.
There he is.
Sorry,
man.
my internet's
Right.
trash.
How's that?
You froze again.
Right there.
Your internet's what,
My
Jay?
internet is trash. Obviously.
No, it's still frozen.
His internet.
I give up.
Oh man, to think that if I hosted, we thought it was gonna run smoother, but there he is.
There we go.
Am I back? Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
You can see me?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay.
No,
Woo, shake it! Shake that bubble butt!
Don't get me
it's a
started.
super good idea to bring tools with you. A little toolbox, electric tape, anything that you might need that will always come in handy.
I'll ask the father-in-law for his,
Yeah.
so we can borrow. I mean, because it's coming this way anyway altogether.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
And duct tape. They were talking about duct tape. Duct tape comes in clutch.
duct tape.
Yeah.
Oh, were you talking about our trip coming up?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a little story. I mean, I guess you could call it a horror story. On this last tour that we did, the van that we were driving, climate was pretty bad. So it was like, we were on the highway, and I was constantly fighting the steering wheel because the van would drift off to the right. So, it started to feel like a little unsafe at one point. Like, I'm like, okay, we should definitely get this looked at. We had, on the tour, there were several days off, so we chose a day that we had off to go and get the wheel alignment fixed. Because, it's like, okay, we definitely need to do that. So we were in some little town in Pennsylvania, just like a small little like town, and we pulled into this shop. And mind you, I am super paranoid when it comes to like, you know, trusting mechanics or trusting, like, you just never know. I knew the van was running fine. It just needed a wheel alignment. I'm gonna take it in and then have it come out with like, hey man, you need to do this and you need to do that. Like,
You got a leaky spark tube.
right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. So we go and I'm like, hey, we're looking to get wheel alignment and tire rotation, and the guy goes, I was like, do you have time for that? And he goes, yeah, dude, we got one car and that's it. So if you want to pull in your van or you want to, and mind you, it was like 3 p.m. And I think it might have been a Sunday and they closed at like 7. But it was like 3 p.m. and we had to unhitch the trailer full of all our gear. So we had to all like pull up the trailer and take it off the hitch. And then we parked the van in front of the auto shop. And mind you, when I asked them all these questions, I came out and I'm like, yeah, they seem like good guys. Like they really felt like a good vibe, right? Like it felt like,
I don't like where this is going.
like I definitely trusted these guys for sure. And this is what happened. It was 3 o'clock, 3:30 maybe. We waited in the parking lot and waited and waited and waited and waited. And it wasn't getting pulled in. And there was other cars coming in, and I was like, why are they taking their car and not ours? Like, we were here. And I was starting to get a little frustrated. And it got to like 6:45, and they were going to close at 7. And I was like, dude, they haven't pulled in our vehicle. What the fuck is up? What's going on? And finally, I go back in. I was like, hey, what's, I was like, everything okay? And he's like, yeah, dude, we're going to have you out in 15 minutes. And so they pulled the van in, and I kid you not, it was in there for 10 minutes. They pull it out, and he's like, yeah, it'll be $150, please. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Swipe my card. And we get on the highway, and I'm like, and no, I'll tell you, immediately after we pulled the van out, they started closing shop. They pulled the van out, and lights were turning off, the garages were closing. So it wasn't like we couldn't turn around and say, hey, like they were already closed. They had left, So they definitely just ripped us off. They waited until like 10 minutes before they were going to close. And there's no way you could do a wheel alignment in 10 minutes. Like, it was like, it was terrible. What ended up happening was I called the following day to like the company, and they, I told them exactly what happened, and they're like, I got all these opinions from them. They're like, yeah, dude, there's no way they could do a wheel alignment in 10 minutes. So they gave me my money back.
Oh, thank goodness.
But it came back randomly. Like, I had called, and it seemed like for like about a week, I was like, yeah, dude, we just got ripped off. I mean, you just gotta take the L and learn from our mistakes. But then randomly I checked my credit card statements, and I saw that the money came back in. And I was like, oh, I guess they realized, like, this guy could like nail us for fraud, basically, or I don't know what the case might have been, but I think maybe a manager realized like you guys can get us in trouble for doing this type of stuff, and we need to get this guy his money back because I don't know, but
yeah, that's terrible. Oh, you got some good karma there, though.
yeah, I learned my lesson though. Don't trust. You can't trust anybody.
Yeah, it's hard, especially. I mean, like, you weren't desperate, but it was something that you guys wanted to get fixed. So it's hard when you're
Yeah.
like, hey, please, I need your help. Can you please help me? And they're like, yeah, I got you. Don't worry. They're like weaseling, sniveling over there. But
The worst part about it was that I just wanted us to be safe, because
mhm.
it felt like the steering wheel was it was getting kind of scary. I was like, dude, we were in Pennsylvania. We have to drive all the way back to Las Vegas across the country. I was like, we need to get this fixed because this might be dangerous. And for that to happen, to not only get ripped off, but you're also still unsafe in the vehicle was kind of like, you know, Then we ended up like getting new tires and stuff, and we went to a Walmart this time because Walmart, they can't rip you off there. They got
Mhm.
they have to get it done. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
Go ahead, Jay.
Oh no, I'm afraid to speak because my internet keeps cutting in and out. So
Uh,
I'm afraid to start and then get cut off halfway. Honestly, I missed part of the end of the story. So
oh,
I won't know the story until I watch this episode back.
It was a good story. Don't worry. It had a decent ending.
But yeah,
sure.
my internet is kind of choppy right now. I don't know if you guys are seeing it on your end.
I don't know. You guys both froze up for me in a minute there, but
I was gonna say, yeah, when it comes to
well,
like automotive repair, I feel like there's a lot of competent shops and stuff. A lot of people that can get the job done. The main thing is finding someone that won't screw you over. Because I feel like there's probably like a 2% population of people that will not screw you over. So once you find that one car guy that you can trust, stick with them.
yeah,
But yeah, you're right. Walmart's the place to go. That's where I go for like my
I
oil
feel like
changes and stuff. It's cheaper, and
Mhm.
if they do try to screw you over, you just go to a different Walmart and be like, yeah, this one screwed me over. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll fix it.
right, yeah,
I think especially for like smaller local shops, like it's more important for them to build a loyal customer base,
yeah,
have returning customers and people that if they have say multiple cars, they'll bring each one of their cars for you, Then
yeah.
you got put it in the books.
Like I have a guy here in town. Well, my dad does, where we take all our cars to this guy. We have been for like
Mhm.
7 years. But when you're not in town, when you just gotta roll the dice, basically.
That is a scary situation. That actually for our trip, you should probably check with your wife's parents and make sure that their car is all up to standard maintenance wise, so we don't get screwed
I
over.
know, dog.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. All right, fellas. So we're coming up on the hour, but I got one more good one.
Yeah.
This one's like more cringy. If anything.
Hopefully, my
When
internet
I was reading it,
will
I was like,
survive.
He says internet.
right as you're talking, it just went away.
Dang it!
All right. It's okay. You just need to listen to this one, and then you guys can react after. All right. So r/musicians Smiley McSax says, "I want to hear your gig horror stories. What's the worst one you've ever played?" I'll go first. One time, I got a call in the afternoon from a buddy to play saxophone with his cumbia/salsa band in the evening. Get in contact with the band leader, ask him about what gear I had to bring, and he told me all I needed was my horn, ? No music stand, mic, in-ears, or any of my usual kit would be necessary from what he told me. Show up to the gig before anyone else, and as the band filters in, everyone is carrying a music stand. I absolutely was not going to have time to run and get mine, so I start looking for options. I find a small PA mixer that, when stood on end, comes just above my knees. That'll have to do. I'm also pretty intimidated already because I'm one of like two gringos in this band, and obviously seasoned musicians in that style. Uh, the band leader shows up and hands me the book. It's a 3-ring binder full of hundreds of charts, and I quickly realize they're not organized in any way. And there's a mix of tenor sax, trombone, and tuba parts. The band kicks off, the horn players are nailing that on the wall. And if you know anything about Latin, salsa, and cumbia music, that is not easy at high levels. I'm not only struggling to find the right charts, but I'm reading them really poorly. So poorly, the band leader starts pulling his horn off his face and singing my parts at me. My first name. Eventually, the book falls off the PA thing. Charts go everywhere. This continues for 2 sets. I'm flustered, playing like shit, and getting more embarrassed every tune. Make it to the end. None of the guys even look at me or want to talk. The leader pays me, and I immediately leave with my tail between my legs. I never got called back. Haha.
Yeah, this is the story of my life, just with everything I do. Wait, so
that's like a nightmare situation. You like show up and everybody else is prepared and you're the only one. You're like, dude, what the heck? I didn't get the memo.
yeah,
I was just waiting for him to be like, well, then I had a stomach bug and I had to take a dump, and then also my pants were falling off, but I had my hands up. Yeah. That would have sucked. Jay, are you frozen again? Strike a pose.
Jay.
We're just talking over you to see if you come back.
I'm back now.
Yeah, you're back now.
But my internet, much like this guy, is ready to run out. Was there no rehearsal before this thing? Like he just like walked up on stage and was trying to wing it?
That was the thing, yeah. So it sounded like it was like a band for a party. I don't know if you ever been to like a Mexican or Latin parties, but sometimes they'll bring in a band and it's just 4 or 5 guys standing around with their instruments. And if they've been done it for a while, they don't need any sheet music. But this guy, he's never played Latin music before, so he needed the sheet music. Yeah. And then he was just like, maybe I can learn the notes on the fly, but everything sounded unorganized. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like handwritten sheet music, you know, just borrowing it from one of the other guys.
Also, that music, you can't just wing it. It's not like stuff has to come in and out at certain times. Like, it's very specific. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not jazz.
I think he got set up.
It's cumbia. The rhythm has to be there.
Right.
I think he got set up because he was a gringo. Now everyone's talking about that stupid gringo who didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, they might have set him up.
Yeah, he said there was 2 gringos. He's probably one of the band members, and then the other one was just, dropping off some ice or something.
But I've been in that situation where like that you're failing miserably, and all you can do is like survive. It's like, I hope there's an end to this tunnel someplace.
I know exactly what you mean. You're just trying to get through. You're like, if I could just get home to my safe space, I'll be.
That was me in school. Anytime I had to get up for a presentation, I'm like, I hate this. I know I sound dumb. I keep messing up my words, even though I have them written down. And then I'm like, I don't care what grade you give me, I finished. So I wipe my hands of this filth.
I mean, with that, Sonny, I know you've given us a few of your horror stories already. Is there another horror story that you have that tops almost pissing on a police station?
I had one in mind. I'm slipping right now. Oh, you know what? Okay, so one time we were playing a show. And I had my guitar equipment, but I also had I had a keyboard, like my MacBook connected to like a keyboard. So I was using my laptop for software stuff. And I couldn't get it to work. And this is like a packed house. Like it was like packed to the brim. And eventually, and the stuff I had on my laptop was kind of detrimental to our set, like it really, we had been practicing with all the stuff from, I needed to get this stuff to work, right? And I could not. And I was like, okay, let's just play without it. And we're barely making it through the set. I'm like, oh God. And then someone keeps flipping the lights off. So, usually at a gig, the lights are like dimmed and But I mean, they were off, and I could not see my hand on the guitar. Like I'm like, and I kept going on the microphone. I kept going, turn the lights on, turn the
What
lights on,
the heck?
like as we're playing, and someone keeps flipping it off. Like, I mean, looking at it now, it's like someone was probably messing with us because like they would be on, and then midway through the song they would turn off, and then I would keep screaming, "Turn the!" That, granted, I was kind of throwing a little hissy fit. You know, I was like,
I would be
"Turn
too.
the effing-"
Yeah. You're the star of the show. Come on.
Dude, I mean, not only did my laptop not work, and I couldn't get my tracks to work, we were sounding not the best. We didn't rehearse for that gig because we had just done like a series of gigs, so we're like, "Oh, we'll be fine." We just played like 2 weeks ago, but and then the lights kept turning off. I just got done with the show, and I was like, I want to go home. I don't want to be here.
Depending on the venue, it could be one of those places where like this one switch is both the lights to the show and then the lights to the bathroom. Somebody's like walking in and out of the bathroom.
Right.
Like, hey, you got to leave that switch on.
I know. I mean, there's some people that could probably play without having to see their guitar. Like, there's dudes that are that good that can like
They just feel it
know
out.
where they're at. Yeah, but not me. So I needed the lights on. I still am sort of embarrassed about that show just because I was throwing a fit. Turn the effing lights on.
Everybody's different.
Well,
Yeah.
look on the bright side.
Well,
At least you weren't a gringo.
yeah. You weren't then, and you never will be. Sorry, Sonny. Well, real quick, I forgot. I have another really good one. This one's kind of long because this guy, he doesn't specify what he like plays. I think he might say in the story, but he has like 10 different scenarios that he's been through.
Okay.
So hold on, let me get a sip of water.
Yeah.
Is this like a best of collection for? I guess I'll find out.
Yeah. This is on r/jazz. Ask Quincy Stones says, musicians, what is your biggest horror story whilst on a gig? Okay, I think we're good. This guy, Love Fool 1, says, in no particular order, number 1, a drunk woman grabbed my dick and licked my neck while I was playing cocktail piano at a ritzy hotel. She got upset with me when I told her to stop. The manager scolded me for making a scene, wouldn't have the lady removed, and then try to give me an extra $50 to drop it.
I'm just glad you said neck.
Number 2. Oh, yeah. Grabbed my dick, licked my dick. As she's playing the piano, yeah. Number 2. Old man fell at a retirement home gig, had to be taken out in an ambulance. It was like an open house summer special event there. The dude dropped not 10 feet from the band. There was a crowd of people around him right in front of us, and the event's coordinator tried to get us to keep playing. Surreal. You're just playing and then some geezer falls over in front of you. Start playing some funeral music. Number 3, wedding gig. They didn't have power for the band. Someone ended up going to try to rent a generator. But before they got back, some drunk dudes started a fight, and they completely took out the cake, dessert table, and hanging wall of pictures. It was chaos. We never ended up playing.
Easy money.
It's probably a white person wedding. Number 4, food poisoning from the gig food. I puked on stage. First set. Spent 4 hours in the bathroom at the gig while the band played 3 instrumental bass drums trumpet sets. It was a 2.5-hour drive home, and my nicest suit jacket was ruined.
Dang.
Poor Justin Bieber. Number 5, fender bender accident. I got rear-ended in the parking structure while getting loaded into the gig. It was the gig contact who hit me. He was pissed and acted like it was my fault. Finally smoothed it out, got loaded in, and set up just before downbeat, only to realize his rear-ending my car had broken the power supply to my keyboard. Oof, terrible. That's that I feel like I would ask him to repair the damages to the keyboard then over the car. That's your livelihood, the keyboard.
Get both.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Number 6, wedding ceremony gig. I learned the wrong song that had the same title as the song they wanted. They never sent me a reference track. Who knew there was a gentle Christian tune also called Living on a Prayer? ? I know there is now. Christians back at it
again. The Christians doing it again.
Number 7, a drunk patron spilled a bottle of wine on my keyboard on the set break, and it was completely ruined.
Was
it like your laptop or an instrument?
It was my pedal board, like all my pedals. And I mean, it's hard not to get upset. You're like, dude, this is like hundreds of dollars worth of equipment. But I felt bad because he was like genuinely really sorry. He was like, dude, I'm so sorry. Well, I want to be as far away as possible from me.
Sometimes you want them to be jerks just so you can start yelling it back at them.
Played a corporate gig where the bill went band, set, awards, stand-up comedian, band set. The comic bombed hard. The room turned on him and he lost it. He was cussing everyone out when they cut his mic. We were asked to play the set last. The comic was still yelling at people near the door and the room was in chaos. He left the room, but cops showed up like halfway through the last set. It was insane. Number 9, fire in the kitchen at the restaurant, smoke, panic, emergency evacuation, the whole 9 yards. Everyone in the band just carried out as much as their gear as they could grab. I carried my keyboard out.
This is all from the same guy who's having these experiences?
Yeah. That sounds scary. Number 10, wedding gig. The wife said no at the altar because the husband cheated and she found out or something. We were supposed to get paid by the father of the bride, but he was overwhelmed and left with the bride. Took me 2 weeks to get a hold of him and another 2 weeks to get the check.
Wanting to chase someone down to get paid.
You owe me money.
I got kind of a nightmare one. I mean, it's like,
yeah, dude.
It's so common that I don't know if people really know. Happened on the tour that we just did. We're done playing, and immediately when you get done playing, your first goal is to pack everything up, pack up your equipment. That way you can chill for the rest of the night and go like to the merch table or whatever. So we get done playing, and we're packing up the trailer, and there's a guy kind of just eyeing us, like watching us put away all our equipment. And immediately I'm like a hawk when it comes to this stuff. I'm like, I could tell, like, dude, this guy's definitely like trying to see if he could run off with something, because all our gear is like guitars, drum cases, everything. It's all like on the sidewalk, and we're passing stuff in to the trailer, like assembly line type of thing. And I'm like looking at this guy who's clearly contemplating in his head, like, can I run off with one of these things? Like, I just could tell. And so we kind of pack up half of our stuff, and then we go back closer to the venue to get the rest of our stuff. And our drummer is putting away his stuff, and the drum set is like the hardest thing to put away. It's like the most time-consuming thing to put away. So it's like 3 of us there. Me, the drummer, and I can't remember who else was there, but I think it was someone from one of the other bands. And the same guy comes up to us. He says, "Do you know who I am?" And he's like, "Do you know who I am?" And we're like, and he keeps repeating it. And like, I think he was definitely trying to like intimidate us, right? Like trying to scare us into like being like, whoa. But we kind of just sat there and was like, and then I don't think we really reacted to him, but I was holding one of the stands, the hardware stands, which is it's like a metal object that holds the cymbals, like and I just had it in my hand, and I was literally like holding it like this, not like ready, but I was kind of just standing there, being like letting this guy know, like, if you try something, I'm gonna like hit you as hard as I can with this thing that's definitely gonna like knock you out. But we had a group chat with all the rest of the bands that were on the bill. It was like a huge group chat on WhatsApp, and I ended up texting. I was like, "Yo, need backup outside. Come out. Weird guys trying to rob us." And people, like the rest of the band members from the other bands, like 10 of them came out and was just like, "Yo, what's going on?" And then the guy kind of like walked away. But I'm like, dude, that is like the most unfun part of this whole. Like, people is like, "Oh man, tour, it's like awesome." It's like, yeah, but you're constantly stressed out about the van breaking down, about people robbing you, about where you're gonna sleep. It's like, it's more of it is kind of it's a horror story, if I could say.
So you can relate to a lot of the story.
Yeah, right.
But keep on going. It'll all be stories for your future autobiography.
Let's hope so.
the cut.
Like you said, you got to push through, and then eventually you can have your own security, dog.
Yeah.
Or just people that pack it up for you.
So Sonny, socials and everything. Where do people find you? How do they get in touch with you? Figure out where you guys are playing. All that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It is spelled SANI, Sunny, and then Bronco, BRONCO, like the Denver Broncos. But you can find, if you look that up anywhere on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Spotify, and all those, you'll find it if you just type in SANI BRONCO. And we're not really doing anything. We have one show coming up October 19th in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's going to be a really fun show. It's like, it's called Dia de los Empties, which is a friend of mine's band. He's a band called Los Empties, and every year, they're one of my like good friends here in town. And every year they throw a festival. And so this year is the 3rd anniversary of that festival. Everybody comes dressed in costumes. Be a hint that maybe we're doing a cover of that song All Star by Smash Mouth.
Oh, yes. Nice.
And we may or may not be dressed all up in the Shrek cap.
Nice.
That's where you can find it all, and all the socials and stuff, and maybe I'll be lucky enough to come back with you guys again on the show.
Yes,
absolutely.
Anytime,
We'd love to have you back.
Anytime.
It was great to meet you.
It was great to meet you, brother.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, sir.
Anytime. Let's do it again.
So, yeah, audiences, like you heard, stream Sani Bronco's latest album, self-titled Sani Bronco, available everywhere. And Mr. J, if you could close us out, please.
Thank you so much, Sani Bronco, for hopping on. Guys, this has been Affable Amigos. Thank you for watching. Have an incredible day, and we're going to high-five it out. Adios.
Hasta luego.